pirates. Duchess Lilpaw, I have located the enemy. I have a plan of attack and would like the assistance of the fleets to accomplish it. Name it, Lilpaw states. I want this area hit with a rail shot from a fighter so they're nice and paranoid. I'll follow them and continually call in their location, either destroying it myself to cripple them or having the nearest big gun take it out. Hopefully the bitch will lead me to each of her little hidey holes so we can slag them all. Good thinking. If you can grab the meaty half of the duo, do so. Send her to me. I want to have words with her. Agenda says in a low tone. If and when you do that, destroy the robot. What's the priority? Flush out her bases or destruction? Containing collateral. If she looks like she's actually going to get away, kill her. If you can get her to lead you to her bases, follow. But always be ready to kill. Progress at 76% completion for next offensive. Mother Massacre says as she looks at the now frozen Amarada. She had started to try and sneak away. This had gone way too far and was getting worse by the moment. Why hadn't anyone warned her? Actually warned her. Not the random calls of, "No, you don't know what you're doing." That doesn't count. It's over-dramatic. The world explodes. Everything comes back into view, and Amarada feels nothing but pain and movement before they stop and they're somewhere else. Progress is now at 62%, Mother Massacre states. It's going to get a lot lower. A man states and Mother Massacre clearly begins scanning the area in an aggressive pose. Don't bother, you're playing with the big leagues now. Identify yourself. I am the man whose wives and children you've tormented. I'm the Axiom adept that has hunted down monsters like you before. The voice states, I'm even going to tell you exactly what I do so that you can watch as your survival instincts burn your plans to the ground. Who are you? I'm the person that's going to systematically destroy everything you value for what you've done. And now that I have your current coordinates and hopeful tools, time to call it in and time for you to show me where the next one is. The voice states, identification match, Baron Franklin Smith. Mother Massacre states, and there's a clapping sound. Oh, Gold Star, do you want a cookie? The sarcasm is thick and bitter. My children are still crying. Priority 1 is to destroy you and dismantle all your contingencies. That's the only reason you're not already in a black hole. Speaking of, there's an oppressive amount of Axiom use followed by a grinding sound. An ear-piercing, shrieking noise as the largest piece of equipment suddenly collapses in on itself. Then comes the howling wind as it reveals some strange, bright spiral that presses outwards like localized black hole. Mother Massacre states in an almost stunned tone after she grabs Amarada and the world warps. Progress is now at 55%. Good. Next, Franklin states, full on appearing this time. His eyes and veins glow stark white as he approaches them in a furious prowl. Position compromised, Mother Massacre states before letting out a huge disruption to the Axiom around them and then grabbing Amarada and warping again. Position compromised, Franklin says in a mocking tone behind them. Tell me, what's the progress level at now? Mother Massacre begins to move and Franklin launches a needle into Amarada. There's a semi-stillness as Mother Massacre fails to teleport her out, and her reaching for the needle is met with a force field surrounding it. Alone, Franklin hisses. We've seen your code and I only have one question. Is the override of your loyalty stronger than your survival instinct? Protecting her keeps you running. But can you protect her without moving her? Or do you abandon her and protect yourself? Damage to family head unacceptable collateral, Mother Massacre states before turning to Franklin. You have damaged the family head. Survival is unacceptable. Oh, a fight? Good, you can learn a lot from a good solid fight, Franklin says as lightning starts crackling in his right hand. Mother Massacre moves and pierces him through the head, chest, and each shoulder. The real Franklin slams the lightning into the side of her head and she vaults away before taking damage. Lesson 1, control the narrative. If you dictate what people understand, that you will control them more thoroughly than if you had them dancing on strings. You fail to do this when you just skip to murder. The smartest thing to do would be to try and claim some personal effects from the conquered Vakes compound. We would have let that happen for the sheer novelty. Even if you're internally screaming for someone's death, don't let them know it until you're ready to murder them. Franklin explains the rage of his movement is disturbingly countered by the seeming calmness in his tone. But that, you knew we were watching. You knew this wouldn't be hidden. The only way her attacks would have worked is if they weren't seen coming, if you had plausible deniability. But you made damn sure you wouldn't have that when you made a beeline right for her pod and woke her up the first chance you got. Franklin continues in Mother Massacre moves. Honestly, woman, we've already established I'm fucking with perception. Your body is coated in tritite, yes, but optics and scanners don't use tritite as components, which means you're just as easily fucked with as anyone else. Franklin states, also, I just stole your family head. Amarada just vanishes after he says that. You were too busy trying to stop her from being collateral. You forgot she was a primary target. Idiot. Every machine in the factory starts flailing as Mother Massacre has nothing to say and lets out a massive disruption pulse to try and force him to appear. She finds nothing. Then there's a crunching sound and she turns to see Franklin eating a stalk of some purple tuber and twirling a bloody Kutha needle. What's up, Doc? Amarada gasps as she lands on the ground. Her panic breathing steadies as she starts to recognize the location as a massive clawed hand grabs her around the neck and lifts her up with trivial ease. She starts to flail and kick to try and get the person to let her go, and although she finds the stomach and repeatedly slams her heels in there, the deep breaths of the woman hefting her up are unbothered. Her helmet is grabbed with crushing force, and she can hear it creak ever so slightly. Then it's lifted off her head. She's in the Vekes compound. The carpeting has been changed, but the wallpaper is the same, and she's turned to face an absolutely furious Lopen woman and all the teeth. At Mach 3, a projectile should be hard to dodge, but when you're already accelerating your perception of time, just to give yourself time to fully plan out each move and action, it means you see it coming easily enough and can step to the side. Before more than 2 or 3 pieces of rubble have hit the ground from the wall she's just demolished like a hypersonic battering ram, she's on him again. He slips away and takes another bite out of the local equivalent of a carrot. The programming, the personality, this being during her life has been many things, but pride is up there. You don't mass murder unless you're either too stupid to think of the consequences or too haughty to think they apply to you. Franklin notes as he avoids the tentacles, just crunching on the carrot, which is a strange thing as they're moving faster than sound. Zero range, adept techniques insufficient. She begins and he shifts as he rips at the local axiom. Her chest armor is slammed into so hard it splinters. Her systems jump and she skids backwards after careening through the wall. Her system boots back up again and she rises to see Franklin walking up. "Want to bet? I'll put some tritite on it," he says, holding up a chunk of her tritite armor between 2 fingers. The carrot is gone. She launches a disrupting wave of scrambled axiom at him, and he pauses for a moment, long enough for her to teleport away. Chassis compromised, family head abducted, resources dwindling. She notes as she staggers through the factory and heads towards a repair and reconstruction bed she had primed just in case. Just dwindling, I'd think that I've done more than dwindle them. Franklin notes, and she turns to see him wiping away the stain of blood on his face and neck with a wet cloth. I really didn't appreciate the nosebleed, by the way. Coordinates locked in, launching kinetic round. The pilot grits out in a fury. She had been in the wrath wave, as some were now calling it. She had opened fire on and had been opened fire upon. Thankfully, the heavy equipment and heavy training ensured that they had sought out each other as targets and had been able to endure the blows. No one had opened fire on the cities and towns below. Thank every god and goddess for that. The round screams away faster than sound and slams into the factory. Rebuilding is going to be a nightmare. Mother Massacre teleports away. She had just arrived at the previous factory when there had been a sense of danger, and she warped away again. "So what's the projected progress levels now?" Franklin asks as he walks in. "By the way, I just called this place in. It's about to be destroyed." She hurls some prepared tritite at him as spinning blades of sky blue metal and then a disrupting wave of axiom to try and distract him enough to not follow her through. A blade of tritite shatters against her shields and she takes a step back. Franklin is undeterred and next to the tritite reserves. "Any other plans?" he asks her, and she grabs the nearest machine to throw it hard enough that there's a sonic boom. Her thermal sensors start screaming at her, and she turns to see a tight corkscrew of flame erupting from Franklin's palm. By reflex, she begins intimidation tactics again and raises her arm to catch the blow. The sheer heat slags her external armor, cooks the internal components, and vaporizes the lubricants. She screams. His boot slams into her stomach, and she's smashed into the concrete as it craters. Final lesson: Tritite stops axiom manipulations and senses, but it does not stop consequences. The heat of a star bearing down on it reduces it to slag. The raw impact of a meteoric impact shatters it. It's no stronger than iron. She tries to teleport away and he disrupts the effect, directly countering the attempt. How much more? What? How many more factories have you compromised? How many places of construction and industry have you subverted? She grins in response. You'll never. He grinds her into the concrete in response. Her remaining arm latches onto his ankle and her tentacles ram into his ankle. Blood flows, bone cracks. He does not move. Try again, he orders her. Her tentacles slam into the ankle over and over. She can feel the bone breaking, but again, she impales her tentacles directly through the bone and it forces her out as it regenerates. Again. What are you? Undaunted. Your every action only made me stronger. You fed this world pain, and I will teach them to feed on it. Now, how many more factories have you corrupted? He demands, and she says nothing. He then looks up and away for a moment, and she struggles hard to get out from under him. The concrete instead shifts and pins her for him as he reaches down and touches the part of her chest where he ripped the tritite plating off. Then Axiom slips away from her. She tries to pull it, and it drains away. Over and over again, she tries to pull at it as he walks away from her and opens a door. Military action happening here, ladies. Please get some distance. The door then closes, and he walks back even as she's trapped in the ground. He kneels down next to her, just out of range of the tentacles. Where is the disruption equipment? She doesn't answer as she gets a little bit of movement with a chunk. His boot slams down on it, and his body weight is added to the hundreds of pounds she's struggling to move. Where is it? She looks him right in the eyes as her final attempt fails. Deleting data. Purge. Initiating, she says, and his hand starts ripping open her chassis to physically grab the components in question even as she powers down.